I was talking to my friend Larry yesterday. He's one of my two oldest friends in the world. And we carried on a conversation that we've had for 60 some years. And he said he has a word that describes me. Uh, and I think in some ways he's accurate. And the word is catastrophizer. Interesting word. Uh, I do, in some ways, always see the looming catastrophe in my life and in the world. And I often plan for, program my life, if you will, in accordance with the coming catastrophe. And, in a certain sense, luckily, the world has provided me with a lot of opportunity to catastrophize. And I have taken advantage of it full force. Uh, Blanche looks at me and thinks of me as pessimistic, and I don't ignore that. She's in many ways right. And she is truly, as is my friend Larry, very optimistic about everything. And I would love to be that person. But on the other hand, um, being a catastrophizer has allowed me some interesting dynamics. One of them is uh, as a screenwriter and seeing drama and catastrophe around me allowed me to write a fair number of movies that got made, produced, which is an amazing thing, found audiences in some cases, and spoke to the world about catastrophe on some level, usually with a kind of happy ending. And I think that's significant. Uh, Certainly, Ghost has a happy ending. Jacob's Ladder, in its own way, has a happy ending. Half the world is destroyed in Deep Impact, but hope prevails, as Morgan Freeman says, as president. And there's a long line of seeing catastrophe as a possibility. At one point, I had an advisor for the film Deep Impact. I probably have talked about this, who was a futurist and a scientist. And during the end of 1990, 99, he said, Bruce, we're not going to have to worry about a comet colliding with the Earth. The catastrophe that's facing us is uh, uh, my brain is going Y2K. He said, that's going to be the end of the world. I went, really? Really? And he said, it's coming. And I went, oh my God. And I decided with Blanche that we should find a house or a home where we could live, where we could bring in people, where we could grow vegetables and have a garden and try to survive. And we ended up buying a really extraordinary place in upstate New York, not far from where we are now, with like 150 acres and a big house with 22 rooms. And we had a really, really extraordinary time there. And it wouldn't have happened without Y2K. But of course, with what really took place, and all of you are aware of it, we had a gathering of 35 people at my house for Y2K. And we woke up in the morning and nothing had changed. And I had a big house and I had a lot of stuff on my plate. And it was kind of wonderful until 15 years later, my accountant said to me, Bruce, if you try to keep this house for the rest of your life, you've got 13 years left financially. If you go back to California, you've got the rest of your life. So make a decision. So a catastrophe. I had to let go of my house in what was called Bear Hollow or Clinton Hollow, New York, and moved back to California. And then a grandchild was born, and it was joy. We moved to Seattle, and we followed my grandchildren to upstate California, to San Rafael, and then back to here. All of these transformational things, changes, alterations, have all led to exquisitely wonderful moments, because life basically leads you to wonderful moments. And here's the really fascinating thing about catastrophe. One is we're all facing it. Every one of us is looking directly at catastrophe, but not straight on. The ultimate catastrophe, and forgive me because I know this is kind of old hat, but is that you're going to die. And it is not going to be necessarily an easy experience. It's going to be, quote unquote, catastrophic. Everything you love and hold dear and is meaningful to you, everything that explains your life, everything that defines what you have become in this life, boom, catastrophic loss. And what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Well, most people I know look everywhere else but there. And we gain these lives of enormous activity and explanation of what to do every day and what makes life important and how we can live in a joyful, kind of contented, comfortable existence. And the catastrophe just is further and further and further away. And even when we see people around us entering the catastrophic, our mind can't grasp it. It can't quite go there with them. We feel loss ourselves, we feel sadness, but the true nature of that loss is not part of our day-to-day life, which in a way is fine because it makes it possible to go through life. On the other hand, people who have glimpsed catastrophic loss and pain and suffering are, in my mind, initiated into the deeper truth of life, which Buddha called impermanence. It ain't going to last, guys. It's going to go away, and every one of us is going to touch the catastrophic. Do we have to respond to it dramatically? Well, if you're Bruce Rubin, yeah, I suppose so. If you're you, maybe not. And I am learning, because my practice has been teaching me how to look at the catastrophic as another step in an exquisite journey. But it is not easy to get there. It is not easy. Those of you who have experienced something that has led you to the initiatory moment of going, this is not permanent, are sitting here listening to me talk and are part of this class. Something leads people. It doesn't always have to be an awareness of the catastrophic, but there is something that leads people to go, I should meditate. I should sit still. I should find an avenue of contentment and quietude in the midst of all of the unknowability of the world and the inevitability of the catastrophic. So, in a way, I'm preaching to the choir, which is not a bad thing because the choir goes home and has dinner and has fights with the family and does all these different things and comes back to the choir because everybody wants to sing together and find the melody and the harmony of existence. And that's why we are in this space. But we forget life is a day-to-day experience. It's not easy. And if you watch the news and if you are sitting in temperatures of 95 degrees in early June, you know something isn't right. The catastrophic is beginning to announce itself to all of us in much bigger ways than it ever has. And we have all different ways of avoiding it. Turn up the air conditioning, watch more TV, read a book, whatever your thing is of not looking at anything or not looking at, let's say, impermanence. You find a way, you find a way to ignore the inevitable. But something remarkable is happening to Blanche and I and George and Cheryl and a number of us here. We're getting old. It's really interesting. We're getting old. And the things that kept you, in a way, from avoiding thinking of or being aware of the catastrophic are no longer in place. Going to work, having a job, taking care of this thing, doing that thing, not there. You actually wake up in the morning and go, what do I do? And I am the biggest victim of this, and I think I've shared this with you about 400 times. The victim of not doing as a person who has been doing for 81 years. I have been doing and doing and doing and doing. And now, unless I initiate or create something, which people have told me to do, I don't have anything to do. And I am on a journey, which I call Aging into Enlightenment, which is the title of a book I don't want to write, but could be a book. And the thing that is coming at me is this teaching of accept this moment, accept having nothing to do. It's not exactly 100% true because strange things happen when there's nothing to do. This week for me, the strangest experience was the tree outside my window right here, which has been terribly deflowered by the gypsy moths that we've had recently and is in trouble. We've had very little rain in 95 degrees weather, although some has come, but it started talking to me and it said, water me, please, water me. I don't usually hear trees. I talked earlier this year about plants, but trees are a new thing. And Blanche has a tree she loves. It's way at the far end of the yard that also was deeply deflowered. And the only way I could water them was to go into town, go to the hardware store, buy a double thing for the faucet so I could take care of the plants that were upstairs on the balcony and take care of the trees outside on the patio and then way across the lawn. So I got in my car and I'm driving for my tree. And I'm driving to the hardware store and I buy these two soffit things because I don't know which one will be the best thing to screw into the, I can't think of names anymore, whatever it is that turns on the water, spigot. And my trees were happy. I spent a long time watering the trees. And I'm telling you, there's a communication that is exquisite. It's a true gratitude that comes out of the earth, out of the tree, out of the branches. And it's not like a singular thing because I'm going to have to keep doing this all summer long. In addition to that, we bought all these hanging plants. I probably have talked about all this. They have to be watered every other day. And I had to buy hoses and things for that last year, but then I had to get new sprayers for them. So I'm living to take care of the plants. Blanche feeds the birds. And together we feed the fish every day. The heron has come and started depleting all of my goldfish and one of my koi, which I had named them all. Silverado was the one that was taken away from us. And I didn't know what to do. And I found out you can buy decoys. So now I'm buying decoys for my pond. And and then for our anniversary, Blanche and I had a 55th anniversary yesterday, which is kind of a wonderful number. And excuse me, our garden had become infested with a kind of weed that just you can't get rid of. So with the help of our garden designer, who's going to be landscaping our house, we redid her entire garden at enormous, crazy expense, but it was a wonderful gift. And the garden had to be watered yesterday, and I'm watering, and Blanche is watering, and nothing's screwing in properly, and the sprayer is not working properly, and we're getting soaking wet. But we're taking care of the garden. And I was talking to my friend Larry, who calls me the catastrophizer. He said, "Bruce, you're making your garden grow." And we grew up, Larry and I and my friend Mark, with this fascination with Voltaire and the Candide. And the whole goal of the whole of life, as described in the journey of Candide, is to arrive at a place at the end of your life where you are simply watching your garden grow, make your garden grow. And there's something so simple about that, but I never thought it would be an actual physical thing that I arrived at after years of Hollywood and raising children and grandchildren and doing all that stuff. I am literally helping Blanche make our garden grow, period. Is that a reason to wake up in the morning? Well, it's not like writing a movie. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it's real, it's extraordinary, and it's simple. And there are times where I am filled with that and joyful that we're doing it. And then there are times where there's a kind of abandonment, where the universe is not there for me in the morning, where there's nothing there. And I sit there and go, okay, now what? Well, what I usually do is I walk. And I try to walk. I used to walk 4 or 5 miles way down the road, but it's very hilly. My back began to give way. And then I started walking around my house, and I can do 2 miles in my house. And then my legs started giving way. And I'm going, oh, all of my good intentions and all of my plans are deteriorating in some way. And I need to find the energy. And this thing inside me is saying, you are getting old, and you are heading for catastrophe, impermanence, the end of it all. And I'm going to tell you right now, there will be moments where I will fill your life with gardening, and there will be moments where I will disappear. This is something greater than I, where it disappears and there's nothing there. And when there's nothing there, you got to figure it out. And the dialogue or the dance between the you, the I, the endless infinite self, and this tiny little molecule of you is an endless real dance. And by endless, I really mean while you're in a body and in a mind and you're conscious and you're existing, you are a one with, in a dialogue with, a dance with the universe. There are times it will take steps, and there are times it will say, you lead. And you have to lead. And you may not know what to do, but you will have to figure it out. How do you figure it out? What do you do when you don't know what to do, when you feel abandoned by the directives of life that tell you how to go forward in the next step of your life? What do you do? Well, again, I come back to this almost weekly, and so forgive me, and again, you can all just sign off, but I go to the Christ teaching, which I've done regularly, which is Son of God hanging on a cross, feeling abandoned by the universe in the midst of great pain, unbelievable pain, and asking why he's abandoned with no answer. Why have you abandoned me? And then the discovery, which is something he did. He, the Christ on the cross, turned his attention outward and said, forgive them, they know not what they do. He turned his attention from him to the outer, to those around him, and found forgiveness and compassion and empathy and love. There is no better teaching. Buddha said we are here impermanently. We're going to be leaving. We are suffering from the potential of catastrophe that could happen at any minute. But I will tell you, when you get old, it's approaching faster and faster. And things happen. You can't walk the way you walked before. Things hurt that didn't hurt. You know, arthritis starts to kick in. There's a kind of why me, God, but there's also the why not you? You're going to be taken out of the picture. You are going to be totally demolished. You are going to have it come through, you know, either politically or environmentally or psychologically or biologically, physiologically. You are going to be totally taken out of the picture, and it will not be fun. You will experience it as a catastrophe. However, and this is really important, however, if you have been aware of this long enough and you have become understanding that there is a way to handle this thing, which is find solace and protection. And where are solace and protection? Here, within. Go deeply within. Ask for help to accept, to surrender, to open to the inevitable reality of what is. And I will tell you, the extraordinary thing about years of meditative practice is there is a space inside you that takes you into a place of unbelievable acceptance and comfort. It is your inner being, and it is always there, and it is there to witness the catastrophe, but not be destroyed by it. Ultimately, it's this deep space that you commit to, and you go into your hands, I commit my spirit. That's what happens. You go into this deep and profound space that you've been practicing, sitting with, entering on a daily basis, if you're lucky. And it is an environmental reality that embraces you and connects you to yourself in the most profound way. Spiritual practice, meditative practice over a lifetime is just getting you ready for the catastrophic. It also helps you have a good life. That's a nice part of it. It's really nice. But it is preparing you for the inevitable. And that inevitable is not avoidable, period. It is not avoidable. But I will tell you again, and forgive me, I do this every week, 4 times already in this talk. There will come a point where you go inside to find that comfort and find that surrender, and it won't Be there. And you will wonder why you've been abandoned. Two things to that question. One is go deeper, ask for help to go deeper to find it. That's that helps, but it may not show up. If it doesn't show up, the signal to me, I may be wrong, but I think not. The signal to me is to turn your attention to everyone else out there who is lost and terrified of the catastrophic world that they are facing, and offer your love, your compassion, your empathy, and your guidance to them. Hold hands. Be together with others who are suffering now or about to suffer, because I'm telling you, suffering is inevitable. It's built in. You can ask why. If you want to go into philosophical realms, you can go do that. But it's built into the temporary nature of being alive and human. You are going to suffer. I apologize to you for that. It's not my fault, but I apologize because it is so real. And the only thing that will get you through it is finding the depth of connection in yourself and holding hands with the other. You have manifested in this world for a reason. We have all manifested in this world for a reason. We could talk about that for 20 talks here. Why are we in this world? But I will tell you, the best thing about being in this world is I get to hug my wife Blanche for 57 years, even though we've been married for 55. I get to love you guys. I've been teaching 50 years. 50 years of this. That's a long time. Many of you have been around for a fair part of that. And all I can tell you is that reaching out is the explanation to me of the how and the why of existence, to share with each other this enormously amazing space that we all live in. And I cannot emphasize it enough. Look up at the sky. Look at the ground, look at the trees, even the trees that are denuded in my surroundings because of the gypsy moths, or now they're called spongy moths. They won't accept the word gypsy anymore. Spongy moths have eaten my trees, but the caterpillars have turned into moths. And these beautiful little white moths, the females, and these amazingly beautiful brownish orangish moths are flying around my house right now. They ate my trees, but they're beautiful. They are beautiful. They have a life. They're going out their own thing, and then they're gonna inseminate these trees, and we're gonna have more moths next year. That's how it goes, guys. Catastrophe, beauty, catastrophe. Who knows what's really going to happen? But we are all in this together. We are in it together, and we are facing the end of existence, the end of our existence, maybe worldly existence, maybe all life itself together. My suspicion is because of the work I've done over 50, 60, whatever years of going inside, is I have touched something that I don't think has temporality. Is that the word? It feels infinite. It feels like the absolute ultimate undying truth of being, and its core ingredient is love. That's what it is. It's just love. And if you can find the love and share it and hold hands and embrace the other and allow yourself to be embraced inside and find that place inside yourself, this dance will so enrich your lives, so envelop your lives, that as you move toward the finality of it, and we will, and as your body starts decaying and waking you up in the middle of the night, and pain and misery and all that other stuff, which will come, it will come, you will go, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Blanche and I were going to build a swimming pool in the backyard here, but it's a very rocky area. And we got a budget for $499,000 for our swimming pool. And I went, well, Bob, that is madness. That is madness. So I just said no. But I thought I can get that cut down a lot and put in an elevator so that we can sit in this house and go from the upstairs to the first floor to the basement in an elevator. And I haven't gotten the full budget for it, but it's probably much less money. I won't have a pool for 3 or 4 months out of the year, but I will have some way to live in my house. I am going to be in this space as long as it is humanly possible. I am going to sit on Sunday mornings as best as I can until everything is faded away in my mind and I don't remember how to talk or what to say, which can happen, by the way. Be prepared. You'll have to find your own voice at that point. But I will try to be here as a bit of a reminder. And if it gets too boring, you don't have to show up anymore. You don't have to show up at all. But I would advise you, just out of love and care, sit quietly and find yourself. Find your center. Go there. You have something in you that is holy, that is exquisitely beautiful, that is infinite and eternal, and it's always there and will always be there. And it's up to you using your manifested bodily form and your bodily mind and heart and gut to find it. Find it. And you all have, to the degree that you're still here, you've got something in you that's going, yeah, find me, find me. You know, something is working in you. Some of you are, you know, very, very established, and some of you are less established. It's not about judging that. It's just work harder, go deeper, find this thing. And I'm going to tell you, there's an urgency for that because we are facing catastrophic endings. Trust me. For me and for Blanche, they're coming sooner maybe than for you, which is, I'm not, you know, I mean, I don't like it. I have a biological fear of whatever that may be, but then I just keep asking for help. And I have to say, on a regular enough basis, it comes. The help comes. It just rises. And I go, oh, wow. And I can handle this. I can handle just working in the garden. I can handle that. You know, some days it's harder than others, but I can handle it because I have help. And so do you. Help is there. It's for the asking, as they say. So ask, it shall be delivered. And all I can tell you is that this is a really, really demanding moment in the history of mankind, in the history of the planet, in the history of our country and the world. It is like nothing we have ever witnessed before. It's going to have potential catastrophic aspect. If it comes fast, sometimes that happens. If it comes slow, wonderful. One way or another, we're all going to the same place. So do your work. Do the work. The end. Um, you know, the usual questions. Anybody not know what I'm talking about? George.
Let me just say, we all love being here because you're a great communicator. I mean, your friend Larry calls you a catastrophizer. Some people in my family call you a drama queen.
Right.
But you have a message, you know, and it's real. So I hope you keep teaching for as long as you can. Uh, I also, you know, once went to an Art of Dying convention when my brother was getting a heart transplant 28 years ago. Bob Thurman was the plenary speaker, and he said, I want to welcome everybody here because you're all going to die successfully. And
Beautiful.
you probably have done it many, many times before. But
Well, I will tell you, for whatever it's worth, part of the aging experience for me is very LSD-like. It feels like I've done it many times before. It wakes me up to, oh, this again, which was the first word I had when I took LSD. Oh, this again. God knows where that came from, but it was so familiar. My experience right now is very much like that. It's like, oh, this again, but I want to do it right this time or as best as I can. And
you
Rudy,
know, Buddha had 500 past lives before he reached enlightenment. I mean, it's not something you can expect to reach, but we're on the path, and being on the path is the really important thing.
you know, I have no, I've given up all knowledge because I don't know. And it's a good story, and I would love to believe that, and I do in some way believe it. But what I do know is I got right now, and I got to figure it out, and I got to do it with the help that rises up inside me. And if it's inside me, it's inside everybody. That's all I know. So
Right.
find it, find it.
Your friend with your same name who wrote Groundhog Day, I think, got it right in that movie. We all have to do it over and over again until we get it right.
Right.
So,
Well, Danny Rubin got my name. Somebody called him Danny Joel Rubin, you know, but he and I are very much on a similar page. And, you know, Groundhog Day is one of my favorite films. And And there is something to it, but whether it's lifetime after lifetime or just this lifetime, because you wake up every day and there's another circle, and you can try every day to figure it out. And the thing I've really come to through Rudy's teaching, which is if it's in front of you, it's yours. Every day I have things to do because they're coming up and they are repetitive of the stuff that was done days ago or weeks ago or years ago. It's the same thing every day. But I learned when I put the toothpaste cap on to do it gently and get it right, and put it in a place on the counter where it's not going to fall into the garbage on the side of on the counter. And I try to do everything right. When I walk around my house, if something's out of place, I put it in place and everything aligns for now. I try to live as though the world in front of me wants to be appreciated and helped in some way. And that's what I think we all need to do.
Bruce, can you do me one favor? Just mention again August 25th.
Sure, and I'll do it more and more. We're having just a retreat. We've been doing it every year. Well, last year we started, and we'll continue it. It's a retreat in Big Indian, so where it's once a retreat for this class, and we can all sit up in the incredible classroom that Lama Ringbar created up in Big Indian in the Rudy's old classroom. But it's also a kind of a pilgrimage to visit the Rudy Shrine, which is, it's like pilgrimages, as I've said many times, they're really an expression of bodily effort to say thank you to the source, whatever that may be. Rudy's statue is there, whether Rudy is really there or not there. It's the effort to go there, the effort to make some valuable statement that I say thank you for what has been given. For me, that's not hard because I go to Rudy in my heart every day. But making the trip to Big Indian is just a physical version of that. So the 25th of August, it's a Sunday. Anyone who wants to come up, it'll be 2 classes and a lunch and a dinner. Whether it's worth traveling around the world for that, yes and no. The effort, there's somebody who wanted to come from Athens to come do that and maybe still come. I don't encourage you traveling around the world for that event because that's a lot. But the mere thought that you would want to do that takes care of it, that you are willing and wanting to do it. It's really meaningful. It's just saying thank you in a big way. Anybody else? I don't have I have 2 pages, so I don't, go ahead. Ellen, you're muted. You have to unmute. I see your lips working, but I don't hear you. You have to push
Okay.
that. Oh,
I got figured it out. Someone wants to say hello to
Hello, Bruce.
Hi, David. Hi. It's great to see you. Wonderful.
How are you?
I'm great. It's only been 20 years or since the pool, or 30. I don't know how many years, but it's great.
No, it hasn't been that long, but it seems like yesterday
we
were in the pool every day swimming those laps.
And the sauna, it was great. It was really
and having breakfast at Denny's.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to see you. Welcome here. We'll have to do a private version of this.
Yeah,
but it's great to see you. Thank you. Okay, has anybody else got questions? Okay, then thank you for coming. Enjoy catastrophizing or not. Find your way into the next step. Hopefully it won't be too hot and the politics of life will stay off your screen for a while. Love you guys.